Good morning, Year 4. Welcome back to day 2. Let's just go through the answers from yesterday so then you can mark your work. So question number 1, A is 170 centimetres, B 440 centimetres, had to do some converting there, C 6.6 metres, D 340 centimetres, E 22 metres and F 56 metres. Question number 2 was a true or false. So this first shape is actually false. The perimeter is not 10 centimetres. What they've done is just only added 2 sides together. So they needed to double it to get the perimeter of 20 centimetres. And the second shape is true. Question number 3. You had to circle the correct perimeters for the rectangles. A was 40 centimetres. B 52 millimetres, C 22.4 centimetres, D 37.2 centimetres and E 6.6 centimetres. Question number 4 was the one that I said mentioned yesterday that you needed to read it carefully, because actually you needed to find the area of the shopping mall, not the perimeter. So just kind of throw that in there just to make sure you're reading it carefully. So the area, okay, I've got those there. And then D, the whole shopping centre, so just adding those 3 amounts together. And then finally, question 5, similar to the one that we went through yesterday, where you needed to find the perimeter. Okay, so using the clues that they've given you, hopefully you found the length and the width and the perimeter of 64 centimetres. Okay, so today we're going to be recapping and applying our knowledge of angles and lines. So to start us off, we're just going to recap some of the vocabulary just to make sure it's fresh in our minds. So first of all, in regards to angles, okay, we've got words like acute, obtuse, right angle and reflex. I think during the angles week we didn't really cover reflex angles, but still maybe a word that's familiar to you. Okay, so remembering that an acute angle, okay, the way I always remember it is acute. So acute, I always think of something small. Okay, so an acute angle is a small angle, okay, that's smaller than a right angle. Okay, a right angle, okay, would be like this. An obtuse angle is bigger than a right angle. Okay, so an obtuse angle would be something like this, where it's bigger than a right angle. Okay, and a reflex angle would be something like this, where the angle is bigger than 180 degrees, which is a straight line. Okay, so if I have my straight line here, okay, it's bigger than that. Then we've got our vocabulary to do with lines. So we've got perpendicular and parallel. Okay, so remembering that perpendicular lines are when 2 lines meet at a right angle, like this. Okay, and parallel lines is when 2 lines are equal distance. It's probably not very accurate. Equal distance apart. Okay, and if I continued, they would never meet. Okay, so we're going to need that vocabulary during today's lesson. So let's have a look at this first of all. So we've got a which angle is the odd one out. So first thing I'm going to do is look at each angle and identify what type of angle it is, okay, which you can do along at home. So angle A is larger than a right angle, so I know that that's an obtuse angle. B, once again, larger than a right angle, so this is obtuse. C, once again, obtuse. Okay, and D, looking at this angle here, okay, it's less than a right angle this time, so this is an acute angle. Okay, so now looking at the question, which angle is the odd one out? Well, actually, there are a few different answers for this one. The obvious one is D, okay? D because it is the only acute angle and the others are obtuse. I could also say that B is the odd one out. And I'm wondering if you can figure out why it could be classed as the odd one out. Okay, I could say B is the odd one out because it's the only one that is kind of upside down compared to these. Okay, so it's kind of on top rather than being on the bottom. Be interesting to hear from you if you can spot any other answers for that one. Okay, this question, we're going to circle and identify all of the acute angles. So remembering that an acute angle is less than 90 degrees. Okay, so looking at this angle here, definitely not an acute angle. Okay, here, because that's obviously an obtuse, we've got a right angle. This is an acute angle, less than 90 degrees, so I can circle that one. This one, once again, is a right angle. It's been marked off there. And then this one, I'm wondering if you can remember what we call this type of angle. Well, it's called a reflex angle. So hopefully you got that. So there's only one acute angle for this question. Right, now we are going to apply our knowledge or learning that we've just recapped to this question here, which is an odd one out. So pause the video, have a think, which is the odd one out? Okay, so I have found 3 answers for this question. So I've obviously got my triangle, a rectangle, and then I've got a rhombus, which is a type of parallelogram. So first thing I thought about was the number of sides. So this is a 3-sided, 4-sided, 4-sided shape. So I could say that the triangle is the odd one out because it only has 3 sides, whereas the others have 4 sides. Okay, I then thought about my types of lines, my parallel and my perpendicular lines. Okay, and I noticed that the rhombus was the only one that did not have any perpendicular lines. Okay, the angles are either obtuse or acute. Okay, whereas the rectangle has 4 right angles, so some perpendicular lines, and then once again I've got a set of perpendicular lines here. So I could say that the rhombus is the odd one out because it has no perpendicular lines. Then thinking about parallel lines, okay, both the rhombus and the rectangle have parallel lines. So once again, the triangle was the odd one out because it had no parallel lines. Okay, there may also be other answers, and it'd be lovely to hear if you found any others. Right, now it is your turn at home to have a go at some questions. So today you've got 5 questions. There'll be a copy of this at the end of the video and on the PowerPoint once again. So you're just applying your knowledge of angles and lines, and check back tomorrow for the answers. Should you wish to complete some mental maths today, please continue watching the video for the questions. You will need to look carefully at the calculations and decide whether to use a mental or written method. Remember to set yourself a timer for 5 minutes and to pause the video. Good luck! Now you have finished, continue watching for the answers.